India is becoming an increasingly male-dominated society as the latest census shows the number of girls born there is at an all-time low. Well, families are desperate for sons as they're financially far more attractive, but that's resulting in a rising number of gender-selected abortions. As RT's Priya Sridhar reports, this gendercide may eventually leave many Indian men without partners.
It takes a village to raise a child, the saying goes, but in the village of Karora, Haryana, about 3 hours from the Indian capital, not every child is given a chance. Here, there are twice as many boys as girls. And according to the latest Indian census numbers, the trend of more boys is a national reality and no coincidence.
And each family wants that the son, there should be at least one son who can look after the family business, who can look after the family name, and who can look after the parents when they are old.
Dr. Rajiv Gupta is a physician at a hospital in Haryana. In India, sex-selective abortion and finding out the sex of a baby before birth are illegal. But every day, Gupta sees patients who are willing to do just about anything to construct a family with more boys than girls.
Yeah, it's something which we run, and every doctor with an ultrasound runs into on a daily basis. You have people who come to you begging to get the sex of their child known, and there are people who have got their sex determination done and they want an abortion of the unborn female child. They are ready to pay you anything.
While the villagers in Karora can't deny the statistics, few will talk about what is happening to all the baby girls. They do, however, admit that having boys is more attractive to them financially, especially when it comes to the Indian practice of a bride's family paying a dowry to the groom's family before their wedding.
There are a lot of poor people in the villages who are mostly daily wage earners. They fear dowry. It's like a big obstacle in their life.
If gendercide continues at the rate it's happening now, by 2021, India will have 20% more men than women. One major concern for people here is who these young boys will marry when they grow up if nothing changes.
This is a worry for everyone. Even we have 2 sons. The dwindling number of girls does worry us whether we will find wives for our sons or not.
In some places like Haryana, the gender ratios are so skewed that some villagers are traveling to other states to buy brides for their sons.
Brides for poor families are brought in for other states. They help the family with money.
And there have been several stories of imported brides who end up harassed and ostracized for their cultural differences.
There are fights between clans to get one female, and there are instances where 2 brothers or 3 brothers have to get one wife.
To many, it's a rooted mentality that will be difficult to change.
Everybody thinks of a girl as a burden and wishes that a daughter is not born in their family,
leaving the future for females in the country unknown. Priya Sridhar, RT, Karora, India.
Click it, flip it, click it, flip it, turn the handle to the right. Turn off the water, twist the handle real tight. Slip on your sneakers and lace them up tight. Leave the car parked, you know now that's alright. Public transportation is the way to go. Well, it's one of the ways to keep emissions low. Now you can ride your bike instead of the car. If we save on fuel, then we'll all go far. I said click it, flip it, turn the handle to the right. Turn off the water, twist the handle real tight. Slip on your sneakers and lace them up tight. Leave the car parked, you know now that's alright. I said public transportation is the way to go. Well, it's one of the ways to keep emissions low. Now you can ride your bike instead of the car. If we save on fuel, then we'll all go far.
Tokyo Electric Power Company President Masataka Shimizu has paid his first visit to an evacuation center. Although overt displays of emotion are frowned upon in Japanese culture, the evacuees made their feelings very clear.
The much-criticized president of Tokyo Electric Power, or TEPCO, Masataka Shimizu, visited an evacuation center for the first time since last month's earthquake and tsunami, kneeling and bowing deeply to the evacuees. Few evacuees at the Koriyama Center raised their voices to him, but most did not shy from giving him their opinion.
We want to go home as soon as possible. Do something about it.
Think about what you would do if this was happening to your family. Think about this when you are trying to resolve the problem, please.
Overt displays of emotion are frowned upon in Japanese culture, but some were not hiding their anger. One man told Japanese broadcaster TV Tokyo exactly what he thought.
What's the point? He's too late. I wouldn't forgive him even if he was dead.
Others displayed their disdain with their body language, forcing Shimizu to sit on the floor while they sat on a chair with their arms folded.
We really just need you to please contain the nuclear reactor.
Shimizu's company has been accused of downplaying the dangers and ignoring warnings about the risk of a quake and tsunami striking the plant, and reacting poorly to the damage. Shimizu told reporters it will take time for TEPCO to regain the trust of the people.
I am very aware after hearing today that the relationship and trust we have built up with locals has totally collapsed. So it is very important that we now find ways to rebuild this trust, even if it takes a long time to do so.
Earlier this week, Japanese authorities said they're banning anyone from entering a 12-mile evacuation zone around the Fukushima nuclear plant. Many of those at the evacuation center had been forced out of their homes and can no longer re-enter.
Hello everyone, welcome to Global Government News. Today is Saturday, April 23rd, 2011, and I'm Darko. This is part 4, the final part for today, everyone. If you don't know, this is my website, www.ggnonline.com. That's ggnonline.com. Alright, we're going to go ahead and just finish up here for today. And we have this first one, Chinese sometimes have to hide their marriages. The recent Chinese film, Mr. and Mrs. Single, tell the story of a couple who conceal, sometimes awkwardly, the fact that they are married so that they can get promotions and higher pay. The plot struck a nerve in the contemporary China, reflecting one of the anxieties of modern urbanites. Yeah, that's called social engineering, like you saw with the what was going on in India. And the basic plot here is bonds, right? You don't want bonds forming between the slaves, because when you have bonds formed between the slaves, such as a family unit, they tend to kind of fight for that family structure and not sit back passively and take everything that the state throws at them. So that's my little take on it. We have Le Pen family feud over Nazi supporters expulsion. This is pretty crazy. And it says here yesterday, this man right here, Jean-Marie Le Pen, and his daughter Marine publicly chided his daughter for expelling a National Front official who was pictured on a news website giving a Nazi salute to a swastika flag. Mr. Le Pen suggested that the Marine 42, who is on holiday in Thailand, had acted hastily, and she might like to appeal against her own decision when she gets back. So see, you don't know that your daddy and all their friends are Nazis and Zionists, and you better be careful before you ridicule or expel the Nazis from those, giving a salute there. Asian unicorn to get new Vietnam nature reserve, and Vietnam is setting up a nature reserve to protect one of the world's rarest animals, an antelope-like creature calling the salu. And just like reported recently, what's going on in Southeast Asia, I believe it was Thailand, where the government is just taking up land, just grabbing up land in apartment complexes and demolishing them and putting up sky rises for the rich. And this is exactly what they'll do. They'll act like they care about this little antelope, and then, oh, sorry, it died mysteriously, and now we got to give the land to somebody, so let's sell it to a private company on the cheap. Britain on course for hottest Easter since records began. Why? Well, it's not global warming. It is man-made climate change, though. It's called, like I said before, it's called spraying the skies with barium and aluminum oxides, along with nanoparticles, cadmium, and other metals, and God knows what else. And they're actually heating up the ionosphere with the towers on the ground in HARP-type technology. And these chemicals, along with that, are heating the atmosphere. So the actual heating is man-made, but it's being done covertly, secretly, and they call it now geoengineering, and they say that they're calling for it, yet they've already been doing it since at least 1996. But I've seen movies now that go way back all the way until the 70s, even before that I've seen chemtrails, not persistent contrails. So soak up that sun and soak up those chemtrails, Brits. And it says here, the UN disappears 50 million climate refugees, then botches the cover-up. And it said, back here in 2005, the United Nations Environmental Program predicted that climate change would create 50 million climate refugees by 2010. And it said these people would flee a range of disasters, including sea level rise, increases in the number of and severity of hurricanes, and disruption to food production. So there you go. It was all what? It was all fear-mongering and a lie, right? It says here, shying away from the sun increases melanoma risk. And we're going to keep moving here for time's sake. Chinese regime criticized for dam projects. It said when the water levels of Thailand's Mekong River drastically fell last year, causing the most severe droughts in decades, the Thai government joined several countries and international groups calling on the Chinese regime to disclose information about its two dams upstream. Critics say Chinese companies do not share information about how their dam projects could affect other countries. Then TEPCO banned from operating a nuclear plant. And it says here the Tokyo Electric Power Company will not be allowed to resume operations in a damaged nuclear power plant. And then we have no obvious change monitored in radiation levels in China. This is from Xinhua, and it says here, radioactive iodine found in breast milk of Japanese mothers. Japanese government censors Fukushima reports that contradict official story. And most of these links, if not all, will be posted. So check them out in YouTube's video description. All food may be labeled as containing genetically modified foods. It is contaminating pretty much the food supply. A proposal to require food labeling of even tiny quantities of genetically modified ingredients would result in all foods being labeled as possibly containing GM material, an industry body says. So then we move on here. Pesticide use tied to lower IQ in children. I'm sure when they started all this after World War II, after DuPont and all those companies needed to use their chemicals after the war was over, they decided to put it in our food supply. And lo and behold, it was right around the time that they started putting fluoride, sodium fluoride, scrapings from aluminum stacks and fertilizer plants in our water supply. So, that's no coincidence. And they knew exactly what they were doing. It was going to sterilize and lower IQ and dumb us down, right? Genetic breakthrough may stop mosquitoes spreading malaria. And we've already covered that before, but just recover it again. Jab could slow tissue damage. And it says here, an injection given to heart attack and stroke sufferers could radically reduce their devastating effects, a new study finds. And it says here, drug injection delays puberty. And you can go in there and check this out. Talking about puberty-blocking drugs for young children and how they've been available for years. Genetic testing of kids favored by parents, that's because they've been propagandized and indoctrinated through all of their education. Many of these people, I would assume, and go on a limb and say that they are actually highly educated, the ones that favor this, because they've received the most indoctrination. Sterilized mom and baby combo fight. It says here, a mother of 5 is suing a hospital after she became pregnant following a bungled sterilization operation. The only thing I can say without getting too religious is, hey, God works in mysterious ways, right? Just deal with it, I guess. Scientists target drugs that improve behavior, and then using police to enforce big pharma medication agenda is a violation of civil rights. Woman lived with a pair of 8-inch scissors in her stomach for 3 years following surgical error. Then bird feathers show pollution rise over 120 years. World's largest atom smasher may have detected God particle. And finishing up here, NASA discovers ice lake on Mars, and they know that there's water on Mars. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually have bases on Mars, dude. Anyways, thank you for joining me, everyone. Have a wonderful holiday weekend. This is GGN, and I'm Darko. Thank you.